right, all right, all right. I don't know if I'm coming in too loud. Let me check this fader over here. 1 2 1 2. Let me know if I'm coming in too loud, man. I could hear a little peaky in my headphones here, but I could be wrong. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. There we go. 1 2. What up, party people? What up? Welcome to a new episode of Live from the Lab with yours truly, qunique. Let's go. Let's fucking go. First of all, let me know if the mic is working. If not, I got the backup mic. Everybody cool with the way the mic sounds? I'm using the lapel mic today again. Let me see who's in the chat room. Who do we got? Mir Depp. We got the Machiavelli, the Albanian Syndicate, Behike, Debo, and my homie Jason DeGaglia. Bananas already with the... Thank you, Bananas. I appreciate that. Bananas already knows. Thank you for supporting the cause. Thank you for supporting the movement. We got the super stickers up. We got the super chats up. Voice is a little low. Okay. Let me. How's that? Bringing it up a little bit right there. That I think we're getting better there. I just got to control my energy today. So that sounds a little better. I think. All right. John Milburn, what's going on? What's going on, man? So here we are today, a brand new episode of Live from the Lab. Today, we're going to discuss a rap group and overall just a group of musicians or talent or artists, a group of artists that changed the face of music. And the more it's funny because we all know about this group, all of us. We all know about this group. But obviously for a show like this, you got to prep a little bit. So when I went to just refamiliarize a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, it's just stunning how much these three guys have accomplished in their career. Just a lot of it, you're just sitting there and you're like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you, like, I knew, but then you go and you review it and you're just like, oh my God, I totally forgot that they did that. And of course, the group that I am talking about today are the Kings from Queens, Run DMC, C. Like that? I don't remember the name of the company that I got this from. These were in a package and I was like a little baby about it now, but there's Run doing his thing. Cool Chief Rocker, I don't drink vodka, but keep a bag of cheaper inside my locker. Go to school every day. There we go. There's Run. Of course, DMC. I'm the king of rock. There is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To fight. Nope. To burn my kingdom, you must use fire. I won't stop rock until I retire. DMC. And of course, the late, the great Jam Master Jay. Not. So much could be said about what he did. And today, what's funny is, thank you, Machiavelli. See, you already know, but we're gonna get into that. That's one of the points I wanted to make. It seems to fly over people's heads. But what's the first thing that stood out? We'll get into their accolades, but what I ended up doing for this episode was I went back into their catalog, specifically the first three albums, and I wanted to refamiliarize myself with their music, but from a different perspective. As a fan, we all grew up listening to their songs and we know a lot of them really well. But when you're doing it in order to discuss and unpack what they did, your perspective changes. So the first thing that I noticed, and I don't know if a lot of you ever noticed this about Run DMC's music, the first thing that I noticed was that the production, whether it was Larry Smith on their first two albums or Rick Rubin, the one thing that they had going for them for the first three albums is that it actually sounded like jam-ass. It didn't sound like loops and samplers. of course, they had the TR-808 going and drum machines and all types of different drum machines, maybe even a Lindrum, maybe a 909. I'm not sure. I wasn't in their recording sessions like a lot of us weren't. But there are certain songs that when you listen, like when I went to reevaluate what was going on, it just sounds like Jay is going back and forth on the tables and they're spitting as if it's just in some crusty club in New York, and they're, the DJ's just giving them like the way the Cold Crush Brothers and the Fantastic Five and the Treacher, like the way those groups used to get down back in the day during whether it was in a club or in one of them live in the park jams where the DJ would just go back and forth and the rappers would do their routines. It's somehow for the first time I kind of like really noticed that that's what they recreated on a lot of their songs, especially on the first 3 albums. If you go back and listen, you'll trip out because it doesn't sound like things are being triggered from a sampler. It sounds like Jay is cutting the sound in, cutting the sample in, as if they were in a park jam, like I just explained. So it's really cool, like when you really pay attention. Because as a kid growing up listening to their music, I didn't really pay attention to the details of their production. And so when I knew that I was going to talk about them today, I had to refamiliarize myself with their work. And so that was the first thing that stood out. I don't know if any of you noticed that about their work, but for the first time, really, shame on me for never noticing, but for the first time, I really, really noticed that aspect of their production. And then the other aspect that I noticed is that Larry Smith, what he brought to the table, especially on those first 2 albums, it might be primitive by the standards of like what today's or current, like what an Outkast production does or a Kendrick Lamar production team would do, or a Dr. Dre, where it's, the musicality is very detailed, it's sonically incredible. But that being said, another thing that stands out is when you listen to Larry Smith's work on the first 2 albums, it's very musical for the time. Like he's playing bass. They get the guitar player, Eddie Martinez, comes in, he plays guitar on a lot of their songs. So although there are hints of samples, like I said, being cut in or however they did it, but on the other side of it, it's very musical in a sense that they had Larry Smith playing bass or playing drums or programming the drums. And then, like I said, Eddie Martinez would come in and he would play guitar, which segues to what, who said it? I got to see who said it. Who said it? Wait, here we go. The Machiavelli said it, which leads to something that a lot of people seem to forget. And that is, we could all agree that Run DMC, they are the fathers of rap rock. When you listen to King of Rock, Rockbox, Raising Hell, there's a few I'm probably forgetting. Even It's Tricky because I think that they're playing My Sharona, I think. But and I don't know that they set out to do that. That wasn't like some plan, like they were, we're gonna. It's just, I think that was the vibe, that they liked that hard edge, because at the time, for them, they didn't like what Sugar Hill Records was doing musically. Sugar Hill Records, when it came to the Sugar Hill Gang or the Grandmaster Flash or the Furious Five or whatever other groups that came out on that label, everything was very funk or almost dance disco orientated. So what Run DMC did, or what whatever the behind the scenes powwow was for the production, they just wanted that punch in your face approach. So instead of making it funky, they made it edgy and rock. And I got to applaud them for that, man, because it's like, people tend to think that rap rock started somewhere in the 90s, and no, Run DMC did it in like 82, 83, 84. And so we got to preserve this, and we got to make sure that people understand that the root of the whole movement starts with Run DMC. And so thank you for pointing that out. All right, let me see who's in the chat today. All right, I already gave a lot of shout outs today, but we got Old School Dude. Yep. The Tougher Than Leather album. There you go. Beats to the Rhymes is my favorite. I see some people putting up. Yes, Machiavelli. We're going to talk about Larry Smith in a minute too. So my personal favorite Run DMC songs. Let me get this. I have the first vinyl I'm going to pull out is, I don't know if any of y'all got this. This is the Run DMC Together Forever Greatest Hits vinyl. This is hits from 83 to 91. It's got the cool gatefold with a lot of information and photos and things of that nature. This is just one of the vinyls I have from Run DMC. And my favorite, off the top, before I even look at this, my number one favorite Run DMC song is Daryl and Joe. I just love the production on that song. I love the back and forth. And by the way, another thing that's special about Run DMC is how the way their rhyme structures are put together, where they complete each other's sentences. And I know that they probably get that from watching Cold Crush and Fantastic and Grandmaster Flash and them, because that, you know, when if you, even just to help you, if you go look at the movie like Wild Style and you get to that segment where the Cold Crush brothers are rhyming, or the Fantastic Five is rhyming, you see how they all harmonize together, they finish lines together and all of that. But Run DMC were doing it as just a duo. And the way they did it, they kind of advanced the technique. And the other thing along with that is that Run DMC's music advanced the genre. That's another thing that kind of like stood out in me going to analyze a lot of their steps, is that they quickly changed what the Sugar Hill Records blueprint was. And they gave it grit, they gave it street, everything from the look that they had to the sound that they had, everything about them just took hip hop and shifted it and brought it to the streets. It was no longer a disco thing. They shifted it heavy, and the youth were a little more invested. I'm not saying that they weren't already, because the youth was definitely invested during the Sugar Hill. I don't want to discredit Sugar Hill, because the Sugar Hill era is extremely important to hip hop. So let's not get it twisted. You can't disrespect the Sugar Hill era. You can't. That's the foundation. We all agree. But Run DMC single-handedly shifted the whole thing. I tend to sometimes when I discuss these things, I'll talk about, you know, the Furious Five and Cold Crush, and so, you know, I'll mention Run, but then I instantly go to the crack era, which is KRS, Kane, Rakim, Kool G Rap. You get the point. But today we have to give it up to the guys that actually took that, with the two bookends, the guys in the middle that shifted everything, and arguably the most important rap group on the planet, Run DMC. We have to come to that point. Everybody's important, but what they did. Look at some of these accolades. They are the first rap group in history to have a gold album. They are the first rap group in history to have a platinum album. They are the first rap group in history to have a multi-platinum album. They revamped and revived Aerosmith's career. It's like, what? I think they're the first rap group ever in history to get an endorsement deal from Adidas. Like, it's like a lot of their history is insane. And I know for some people, who cares about the charts or whatever, but when it comes to hip hop, you got to understand, there was a moment where people were kind of like looking at hip hop like it was a fad. It was like, oh, this is passe, it'll pass. And then Run DMC come along and they punch the entire music industry right in the gut and say, nah, not only are we not staying, but look at what we're accomplishing. And so, you know, you gotta give it up. You gotta give it up to the kings of rock, man. In between, I'm gonna show you some cool things. Here's another one of my Run DMC collectibles. This is the Mesco figure set. It's got Run, DMC, Jam Master Jay, the 2 microphones, the turntables. This is a really cool thing. This I never opened from the package. Smart move, Q. Really cool packaging, you know what I mean? This was something, I think Ill Bill gave me this as a gift, which was really cool for him, man. That was dope. But there's another cool collectible that I have there, right there. Let me get back to here. What's going on, man? Andrea? Eminem, who came from the family. That's right. Eminem did induct him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's right. Yes, Father Jah, I love that. And as a matter of fact, Father Jah, thank you for bringing that up, because another crazy fact, and I heard DMC say this in an interview, so I'm going to echo what he said, and that is, let's go back to Larry Smith, the producer. And somebody had said this in the comments. Larry Smith is a producer that needs way more recognition and way more flowers than he's ever received, because as DMC had pointed out, Larry Smith at that time, when he had produced the Run DMC album, the King of Rock album, he also produced 2 Houdini albums. And why is that special? Because the Run DMC, if you go and listen to Run DMC and you go listen to Houdini, it's on two different planets. It's 2 different universes. And Larry, who is simultaneously at the same time producing these groups, had it in his brain to be able to separate himself from one group to another. He didn't just give people a beat that had a signature to it. Because certain producers, they have a sound, they have a signature, they have, somebody's starting their motorcycle. I don't know what's going on out there. But you know what? I don't know enough about Larry personally to speak on his techniques, but when you go and listen to Run DMC or the King of Rock, the Run DMC King of Rock, and then you go listen to Houdini's albums and you hear the difference, there's no way you're gonna say to yourself, that's the same dude. You're not going to say that. Maybe there might be slight similarities, but they're worlds apart from different. That's very hard to do. Like, we love Primo, we love Pete Rock, we love Large Professor, we love Dr. Dre, we love Kanye, but they have signature, which is nothing wrong. Because for me, if any of those producers talked to me and said, Q, I want to do an album with you, I'll be there. I'll be in the studio before they get there. But just to speak on Larry Smith for a second, that is like an insane accomplishment, to be that different for 2 rap groups that are going in different directions. And I think we can all agree on that, man. It's like, oh my God. What up, Jay Freedom? Welcome, 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 man. Welcome. So, yeah, man. It's just So you got the first Run. So let me grab. So we got the first Run DMC album. I actually had DMC sign this when I got to work with him. We're gonna get to that story in a bit, but when you go from this album, and to me, arguably, what's my favorite song on this? It's got to be Jam Master Jay. I love Rockbox. I love It's Like this is a classic, man. This album is This is the first album. This is the one that I said this is the first hip hop album to ever go gold. This is it. This is the one we're looking at right here. And this is an original pressing. I don't remember. Yeah. So crazy, man. Here's the back cover so y'all can see it if you've never seen it before. What's up, Martin Vasquez? Welcome to the Live from the Lab. We're doing Run DMC today. Yes, Machiavelli, you are right. You are right. And we will get into Marley Marl on another episode. But today we're giving flowers, talking about Run DMC. So again, this is the first hip hop album in history to ever go gold. This one right here. Man, you know, a memory that stands out, and I've told this story before on this show, is like when my parents had broken up, I went to go live with my grandmother in the Bronx. And so I had to go to school in the Bronx. I had to go to school in the Bronx, and I remember I was just a kid, and I remember there was this kid named Jay Claudio, who I went to class with, and I remember he was saying Run DMC, the Jam Master Jay song, kick off your shoes, jump on the jock, and listen to the Jam Master as he starts to rock. He's Jam Master Jay and he's on his way. Be the fresh GJ in the US of A. And I remember, see, there's certain memories, I don't know why, and I'm sure you have those moments too in your memory, in your thoughts, how certain things stand out. And I remember, like, as a kid, I didn't understand it yet because hip hop was still kind of new to my experience. So a lot of it was like, you know, you're a little kid, so you're trying to understand why is he reciting that and what makes that song cool. And then all of a sudden you're hearing it all over the neighborhood and you're just sucked into the situation, you know? It's amazing, man. It's amazing. And so after that, Larry Smith, so that first album that I said went gold, Larry Smith produced that. And then Larry Smith goes on to produce Run DMC's first platinum album, King of Rock. And this is the album that has my number one favorite Run DMC song, Daryl and Joe. Iconic cover. We could all agree this cover is nuts. People have duplicated this cover to pay homage. I've seen Marvel Comics duplicate this for an issue of Rocket Raccoon and Groot. Geeking out. I should have pulled that from my comic box. But here's the back right here. Iconic Run DMC with the hats and all of that stuff. I love King of Rock. I got some. You're Blind was one of my favorites. My goodness, man. Produced by Russell Simmons. So Russell Simmons and Larry Smith used to share the production responsibilities for the first two albums. And let me see. Mastering Herb Powers. They even had a fan club. Look at that. Look, the Run DMC fan club. You could write. You could write in and tell Run DMC or ask for an autograph photos at that time, man. How times have changed, haven't they? But yeah, so now this is the first hip hop album in history to go platinum. King of Rock. Isn't that crazy, man? That's crazy. Amazing. Now, after those first two albums, from what I understand, I'm not sure what went on behind the scenes, but exit Larry Smith and enter Rick Rubin. Everybody knows who the great Rick Rubin is from his work in rock, but a lot of people have to know and realize that Rick Rubin's roots also start in hip hop. He produced the Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, and of course, Run DMC. Excuse me. And he is responsible for this masterpiece right here. This album is the first hip hop album in history to go multi-platinum. These guys are pioneers as far as when it comes to hip hop music. These guys broke ground that had never been broken. And this album changes everything for hip hop, for them, for so many people involved, whether it's a young MC like myself watching it happen or somebody behind the scenes for Run DMC. Everything just shifts because of this album here. My favorites are Peter Piper, My Adidas, and Hit It Run, man, this 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 is considered their masterpiece by many. And then, of course, Walk This Way. And what's fascinating about Walk This Way, and I know a lot of you have heard the story, but what's crazy is that both Run DMC and I'm not sure what Jay felt. I would have to check on it. They, I guess they expressed that when rappers used to rap on Walk This Way, it was just to the drums. They would always, when the DJ would cut it, he would stop before the guitar came in. So you would have that. So that's why Jay does that in the beginning, because when rappers would rap in the park over that song, that's what they would rap over, was the drums. Rick, I guess, was the one that was like, cover the song. And at first, they thought it was a terrible idea. They were like, hell no, hell no. They thought it was whack. They thought it was a stupid idea. But for whatever reason, I don't know how they convinced Run DMC, but they convinced them. They covered it. They got Aerosmith involved. And my goodness, man, talk about, you know how I use the expression, it was like a meteor? That was like a meteor. Everybody remembers that collaboration. Everybody. That you couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song. I think I've heard it so much that I don't even want to hear it ever again, but that's a lie. Every time they play it, I'm like, now there's a backseat lover who was told on the cover. I don't know the words for that one as much. I know, walk this way. But the fact that they even got Aerosmith involved, Steven Tyler, the whole thing. The video is amazing. The collaboration idea was just genius, and it catapulted Run DMC straight into every living room on planet Earth. And my God, man, what sometimes. Thank you, Gorilla Strong. Thank you. Thank you, Gorilla Strong. Thank you for that. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we got the super stickers and the super chats. Thank you so much for your donations. They help keep the train on the tracks. You know the deal. We keeping the production going. You guys, when you do that, you end up becoming an executive producer of everything qunique. So I truly appreciate it. Thank you. Now, let me share another one. Obviously, you guys might have seen these around. These are more new. These are the Super 7 reaction figures. Run DMC. We got right here, we got Jam Master Jay, Cold Gangsta, Hard Rock, Nonstop, Hip Hop, right there in the back. Super 7. When it comes to music, action figures, Super 7 holds it down, period. It's just amazing what they do, man. There's Jam Master Jay. Okay, all right, here's DMC, the glasses and all of that, the microphone. We slay all suckers who perpetrate and lay down laws from state to state. Boom, right there in the back. That's so cool. Jason the Gaglia, my brother Jason. Thank you, baby. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. And last but not least, we got Run. And but for some reason, not to shit on Super 7, but they put DMC's lines. I'm the king of rock, there is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To burn my kingdom, you must use fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire. Boom. Good. And I heard, from what I understand, they did a limited run of them. I think there's a rare pressing. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a rare pressing of them wearing the Adidas suits, but I'm not sure. I think somebody at Super 7 had told me that, but sometimes I hear things and my brain goes scrambled and all that weed and all of that. You know how it is, man. But so now what I want to get into is me meeting. Wait, let me get this ready first. I gotta get this ready for y'all. 2, 3. Let's hit the boom. Okay, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so some time ago, a friend of mine had approached me and said that he was working with DMC on a comic book. It was a friend of mine named Edgardo Miranda, and he. Let me just make sure I got all my credits right, because I really don't want to mess things up. Sometimes, you know how it is, man. You got Edgardo Miranda Rodriguez. I got to make sure I say everything right. Okay, so he ends up collaborating with Run DMC. Excuse me. He ends up collaborating with DMC because DMC, for a lot of people that didn't know, is he is a comic book fan. He loves comic books and he talks about it extensively. You could go online and find a lot of interviews where he talks, because he got into putting out comics. And so he had put out this comic right here. He signed it. Boom, right there. I got the original flyer from when it came out and stuff. And my homie Edgardo got to collaborate with him on this comic. The artwork is just beautiful. It's just stunning. The ink, everything about this, the drawings, everything about this is beautiful. And it's a great book. And it was one of those things where watching DMC do this was just like, it blew me away. Because you don't expect somebody like DMC to just like jump into a whole nother genre and do something like this after he's accomplished so much. But at the same time, I guess you probably could expect something like that from somebody like that, right? So this is what brought me to be able to work with DMC. So he puts out this comic, and then myself, Kwame, Young Guru, Riz, Edgardo, I forgot who the guy in the back is. I hate when I forget people's names, but we end up doing Comic-Con together. Here's us at the Comic-Con. As you could see, we were on a panel. DMC had just dropped this comic book, and we were talking about how hip hop and comics have a relationship. You know, whether it's Wu-Tang naming themselves after different comic book, but hip hop heads, a lot of hip hop heads love comic books. I mean, look behind. Look, Kwame, we all know he's a comic book expert at this point, and behind him, Young Guru works with Jay-Z. So it's like it just goes across the board to show you where the fandom is for comic books. Then after that, that's me and DMC. We were posing with the book, and at that point right there, you see me wear my glasses. But at that point, Edgardo and DMC asked me to be a part of a cast to do we're gonna read his comic book live, and the different voiceover actors were gonna take certain characters. So I got invited to do one of the voiceovers for the DMC book. And here is myself, DMC, and my son. We were talking. At that point, that's when I learned that DMC, not only is he a comic book fan, but he's also a fan of rock. As you could see, he's wearing a Pearl Jam Jeremy shirt in that photo. But if you see a lot of DMC photos recent, he is involved in a lot of different rock. He's a fan of rock, like serious, like it's no joke. And it's also because that's also one of the reasons why I'm wearing this agnostic front hat, because one of my good friends, for those that know, my band Soul Gun, which was once called King's Bounty, the guitar player Mike DeJean, who's in a band called Crown of Thorns, he recently produced the new Agnostic Front album that's about to be released. And the reason why I'm wearing this, DMC is a featured artist on the new Agnostic Front album. So stay tuned for that because I'm very excited to hear the track. It's awesome to see DMC working with Agnostic Front. I don't want to say much more about it, but it is exciting to see someone like DMC working with the godfathers of hardcore themselves, Agnostic Front. So much love to that, and much love to my brother Mike DeJean. Okay, so as I was pointing out, I don't know what that is on there. Try to get that off. So here is the script that I was handed to do the voiceovers for DMC's comic that I showed earlier. It's got all like real script. Like we all got different parts. I'm trying to see if, like I had to do where is it? I was reading for this guy named Charlie. He was like getting punked like Sean Henley off the street as a step in the right direction to show once and for all that crime doesn't pay. I had to change my voice. For those that don't know, I was a voiceover actor for like 5 seasons on TV, and I'll talk about that another time, but I'm keeping 100 with y'all. I did it for a little bit. I did voiceovers for an anime cartoon called Detonator Shogun. I think it's called, no, Detonator Oregon. I have to get the DVD and show y'all. And then I ended up doing voiceovers for a television show that was on I think it was on NBC, and then it moved to UPN 9. It was called American Latino Television. But that's a whole nother conversation. But this is the script that I was handed. There's all the back of it. And DMC rented a little theater in Brooklyn. And myself and the other voiceover actors, we sat in like a semicircle, and we read his comic book, but in different character voices with a whole live studio audience and everything. I don't know if they filmed it, but it was definitely a cool experience. But this, I'm obviously geeking out because I'm proud to have been part of something like this for somebody like DMC, man. So that was really cool, man. There we go. Let me see. Yes, Gorilla Strong. Definitely will. It's Detonator Oregon. ORGUN, I think that's what it's called. It's a rare anime to find. And I didn't get credited, but we'll talk about that on another episode. Machiavelli, you're right. He took it very serious. Like when I was talking to him, he knows his rock, man. It's no joke. Machiavelli, it would be cool for me, and Gorilla. I have to talk to my homie C- about that. Thank you, Raps and Rips, and welcome. Now, another fun fact. This is like a little sidebar note about Run DMC. On the last day of Fat Beats, the store in Manhattan, in New York City, my son bought the very last piece of vinyl before the store closed. And what did he pick? Run DMC's King of Rock on a 12-inch. You can't make this shit up. It's like perfect. My son was walking all around the store, and he picks this up, and he's like, this is what I want to buy. And I was like, perfect. And he buys it, and he made history for Fat Beats. He's the last purchase in Fat Beats history, and he buys a Run DMC record. Perfect for today's episode. So shout out to my son for doing something like that, man. Oh, Gorilla, it'd be hilarious, man, because I went on tour with the Beatnuts, so I have some funny stories about them, man. So, as we go on, please, I want to see in the comments your favorite Run DMC song or moment, if you have one, like if you got to see them live. I know that my homies and like if you see up there, the Arsonists, we got to open up for EPMD some time ago at Tramps, and then following that, Nonfiction got to open up for Run DMC at Tramp. So it was kind of cool that we got to, both groups got to experience something of that nature. You know what I mean? It's really, 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 really cool. Hold up. Let me just shift my screen and get ready for the next thing here. 1, 2, 3. Wait, where am I? Hey, man. Oh, there we go. Sometimes I get lost. Thank you, Machiavelli. He did. Oh, Down with the King. Yes. You know, it's dope, John Milburn, that you bring that up. That song that's also one of my all-time favorite Run DMC songs. Pete Rock, he gave them such a dope beat. And then when you think about it, at that time, Pete Rock was on a different kind of level because he was remixing people's songs or producing, and some of the shit he came up with was just like when he remixed Shut 'Em Down for Public Enemy. My God, that beat is nuts. So yeah, definitely shout out to Pete Rock bringing that magic. That reminds me, another one of my favorite Run DMC songs is Beats to the Rhymes. I love Beats to the Rhymes, man. That's such a good, the pacing of it, the routine, the cuts in between. And that's what I was saying about Run DMC earlier, and I'm gonna reiterate this. It's like there's such a magic to the way they produce their songs because a lot of the times it doesn't sound like a loop or a sample. It sounds like Jay, all they had was the turntables and 2 mics, and they're in the studio, and Jay is just, like when you listen to Peter Piper, that sounds like Jay is just, there's no drum machine. It's just Jay going back and forth and they're doing their routine. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm not sure. Obviously, none of us were, I don't think any of us were at the session, but that's how it sounds. And they have a lot of songs that come across like that. You know, it's amazing because in that perspective, it means that they captured that live element somehow and put it to tape and put it on vinyl. And so that's what makes their production to me just magical and very different. Of course, obviously, the producers like Marley Marl and Primo and RZA and Dre, they bring a magnificence to hip hop as well. But I'm just analyzing Run DMC today, and that about them is just so incredible to me. I can't give enough props to Run DMC for that, man. It's just, it's amazing. It's funny because I was thinking today because, you know, I've announced, yes, Machiavelli, exactly. Yeah, the jump around remix is everything he remixed during that era is just crazy. It's tricky as though I think it's tricky. I think that's the one that's My Sharona. I think My Sharona. Somebody correct me, but it sounds like they're cutting in My Sharona, the guitar. Okay. I was thinking today, because I'm working, I don't know if it's because of the research that I was doing, but I'm working on an album. I've announced this before. I'm working on an album with DJ Rhapmatic, and we're almost finished. And for the first time, because people usually ask me, Q, who would you love to collaborate with? And I don't know if it's because of my research or whatever have you, but for the first time today, I was like, imagine doing a song with Run DMC on like, but gearing it more to their very stripped down style. I think if I had to make a suggestion, it would be cool for them to return to that. Probably be difficult for them because obviously Jam Master Jay is not here, so I could see why. It's just like the Beastie Boys with MCA. You know, it's a difficult task for them to want to return back and try to capture something. But from what I understand and from what I've seen, Jam Master Jay's son is also an amazing DJ. So I don't know, you know, I don't know how these things work behind the scenes. Every circle and every group is different, but you know, just I guess it's more like imagination talk. You just look at something and you're like, man, that would probably be cool if even if they did an EP, like something more along the lines of that stripped down style of when you listen to their music, and it's very, it has a direction, but it's stripped down. It's not overproduced with a lot of things going on, you know. So I don't know. Who knows, man? Let me see what we got here. Oh, I got the knack, right. I got I got to go back and listen to some of that stuff. Some of the stuff, you know, when you listen to a lot of music, after a while, you start to like lose a sense. It's like, for instance, when I went back today to analyze Run DMC's catalog, my perspective shifted just to, it was yesterday and today that I was reviewing it because I knew I was going to speak about them, but my perspective shifted greatly because for the first time I was listening with more analytical ears instead of listening like a fan, just listening for the cool song and my favorite part of the rhyme. Now I was just analyzing the layers of their music. And it's stripped down, but it's amazing. And I get, now I understand, like when they would say that they were steering away from the Sugar Hill type of funk and disco. And when you listen to this stuff, how stripped down, you know, this Sucker MCs is just a drum machine and them spitting bars. That's it. That's it, man. That's not easy to do today, man. That's not easy to do. At least from my perspective, I don't think it is. To make a song, it's easy to do it like in a sense of I put on my drum machine, I make a beat, I rap on it, I put it up on Bandcamp or whatever, and it's done. But Sucker MCs, the impact that it made, and the fact that what's interesting about Sucker MCs is that from the way they looked at it, that was just a throwaway. That was just a B-side. Think about that. To them, that was the B-side, which is crazy when you look at the impact that it made. It's like, we don't know. We can't predict these things, right? We, as musicians or whatever your passion is, we throw things to the wall. Hopefully it's things that we're proud of and that we can co-sign, and we don't know how they're going to affect people. And in their case, like I named two, Sucker MCs, they had no idea and it blew up. And then fast forward, Walk This Way, they hated the idea, and that idea made them household names. So it's like, we just don't know. It's even on their level. And remember, when you get to Raising Hell and Walk This Way, they already had success. As I mentioned, first rappers to go gold with their first album, first rappers to go platinum with King of Rock, their second album. So they're already successful. They're already good. And then they do that. And the reason why I say that they're already successful, they're already good, because when you're in that seat, there's a certain level of confidence that comes with that, whether it's inflated and it's gibberish or it's a really know-how, you have a know-how and a knack. But that being said, Rick Rubin presents an idea, cover this song, they hate the idea, they do it anyway, and it blows up. And they're already successful. And they couldn't predict that. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you just never know. You just never know unless you give it a shot, right? That's a life lesson right there. And so take that into consideration. And that's coming from, like I said, a group that already had accolades, who already accomplished crazy shit. That's amazing, man. That's a life lesson. I dig into that because you just never know. You never know. You got to take the shot, man. If you don't take the shot, then you'll never know. You got to take the shot. Stupid Like a Fox, what's up? Yeah, man. Sucker MCs is another one of my favorite. You hear that? 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhyme, so I said this rhyme I'm about to say. The rhyme was deaf, and then it went this way. Took a test to become an MC. Like, it's like, boom. even the cadence, because Run DMC, after a while, they got more like a hardcore delivery, like they had that energy. But that song is so, like, if you really pay attention to the cadence and the tone of their voices, they're chill. They're very chill. It's that song is nuts, man. It's so crazy. Gorilla Strong, of course I would. Him, definitely. I would definitely work with him, man. It's almost likened to the fact that I worked with Sonny Sandoval, the lead singer from POD. I produced 3 tracks for him for his solo album. One of them I'm gonna put out on my album, but he has 2 of them that I produced. And not that he's identical to Matasiahu, but he has that that reggae-ish, and he could spit type of thing. And so the 2 songs that we did have like a little bit of that flavor. So I'm excited. I can't wait till Sonny finally drops them. It should be coming out soon. But I would definitely work with him. Exactly, Machiavelli. Exactly. 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 So yeah, man, today has just been a day that we could all come together and give flowers to Run DMC, man, because I feel like when you look at the climate in hip hop, right? There's a lot of strange things going on. A lot of, to me, there's some negative energy that isn't cool. There's a lot of unseen artists that are awesome, but people aren't paying attention. And so, amongst all of that, I feel like a lot of the times the history starts to get lost. And part of the reason why I do this show is not just for hip hop, I'm going to be talking rock topic as well, but I just want to do my best and do my due diligence to remind people, like, hey, man, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the Cold Crush Brothers, Funky 4 Plus One More, Run DMC, Boogie Down Productions, Public Enemy, all of that, the Super Lover C, Casanova Rudd, the JVC Force, the on and on and on. Just to make sure that we just don't forget. It's our responsibility for the music that we. If you're into hardcore, you gotta know Agnostic Front. You gotta know Crown of Thorns. You gotta know Sick of It All. You gotta know these names. You gotta know. As a fan, as somebody that gives to the genre. It's important. It's important, man. And so on and so forth. It carries on to all different genres, but that's part of the reason why I do these live from the labs. Also because I show how my journey interacts with, like I showed you before, about how I got to work with DMC and doing voiceovers at a theater for his comic book. And it was surreal for me. And it was an amazing adventure. But as I step back and I look and I'm like, yo, that's DMC, like Run DMC. And then you think, and then you go and refresh your memory, and you're like, they've accomplished things that no one in hip hop will ever be. No one in hip hop will ever be what they were. Everybody has not everybody, but a lot of groups have some incredible, like Nas has an incredible twist, and Wu-Tang shifted everything, and Dr. Dre and NWA shifted everything, and so everybody that I mentioned has that chapter, and it's amazing. But Run DMC, man, today we just gotta give it up to the kings of rock, man. It's just what an amazing group, man. So hopefully I inspire you to at least go and visit their catalog and just give them a listen, man, and maybe give it a little different perspective and just analyzing how they put that together at a time when people were kind of shrugging hip hop off. It's pretty special, man. Bill Shapiro, what's going on? There you go, Nuclear Assault. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Mob Deep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Machiavelli. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Chris Herman, welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else we got here? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to pause for a little station identification. I'm going to remind some of y'all that, let me see if I can make this. Oh, let me see. Hey, Stutters, how do I hide the the bar, the bar, this bar right here? You told me. Stutters is always on the job. Thank you, Stutters. Ladies and gentlemen, Stutters is helping the show go. Okay, we're gonna go back to the desktop. We're gonna pause for a little shameless plug here. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we have the new merch on qunique.com. If you go to qunique.com and hit the shop tab, you can see we got the Vengeance is Mine 20th anniversary challenge coin. There's only a small amount of those left. We got the arsonist pins. We got a small batch of the original Vengeance is Mine pressing on CD, and we got the mechanic on CD. And then as we scroll down a little bit, we start getting into the new merch, which is called Designer Rhymes. That shirt that I'm wearing right there is the Diamond in the Rough shirt. That shirt, that's all my lyrics of Diamond in the Rough in the shape of a diamond for the icon on the shirt or the design of the shirt. And there it is on a t-shirt, tank top, hoodie, a hardcore journal notebook, excuse me, we were talking about New York hardcore, so I said hardcore. A hardcover journal, so you could write your thoughts, your rhymes, your financial spreadsheet. And then the tote bag, it's a strong, durable tote bag, Diamond in the Rough. And then there's the Chestnut Checkers hoodie right there, really dope stuff. There's the t-shirt, tank top, hoodie. There's the journal and the eco-friendly tote bag. There's the green grass hoodie, the t-shirt, tank top, hoodie, so on and so forth. And then over here, there's the Brooklyn BKBXBK hoodie. Only the Brooklyn verse made it onto this shirt. There's all of the different ways you could buy it. And then, if you just want to get qunique gear on Amazon, I got now different things available on Amazon. We got the original OG qunique logo, t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, baseball jersey, hoodie, zip up hoodie. Then we got the collab with Zero One, the graffiti artist, graffiti legend Zero One, designing a qunique t-shirt. He also got a tank top, hoodie, long sleeve, zip up, baseball. Then Nihilate did a collaboration with me. He did the qunique tag, like throw up style design, really cool. Then there's Phrase Art, he did it. Then there's the arsonist gear as well. So this is all available on Amazon. You could just go to qunique shop and just show your support, show your love, and I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Thank you so very much for that. Yes, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me see, where we at? Thank you, Gorilla Strong. I really appreciate that. Chris Herman, thank you. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. Thank you, John Milburn. Do I have a Punisher tattoo? Yes, I do. Wait. It's right under the mic. I got that some time ago before the Punisher logo became something of a controversy. So I didn't get it for the controversial reasons that are happening on planet Earth right now. I actually got it because I was a fan of the comic. And if you know anything about my history, Vengeance is Mine album cover is actually me paying homage to Mike Zeck's artwork for the Punisher. I think it's issue number 3. If you look at the Punisher's limited run that came out, I forgot what decade that was. It might have been the 80s. There's issue number 3 where Punisher is in front of the target. So if you go look at that and then put it next to the Vengeance is Mine cover, you could see that I was inspired by the Punisher artwork by Mike Zeck. So that's the deal with that. Yes, sir. So thank you for that question. That was really cool. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we still got the super stickers and the super chats happening. Thank you to those that donated. But now we are approaching that time of the night where I get into the booth and spit something for y'all. Tonight is going to be a little special treat. I know it's a favorite for many. But before that, I just want to once again. Oh wait, I didn't show. I got one more thing to show for Run DMC. Ill Bill also gave me this as a gift. This came out, I don't remember, over 10 years ago. It's a little Adidas like 35th anniversary superstar box, and inside the box, you got the description card in there. And look at that, right? And then you grab the kick, and it is a mini, okay, let's do that. Mini Run DMC Adidas, no laces. Tell me that ain't the coolest shit you ever seen. I gotta get these shits. Look, and it says JMJ in the back. Tell me that ain't the craziest thing ever. What detail. Thank you, Gorilla Strong. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Salute to you. Thank you so very much. But this is cool, man. Like, thank you, Ill Bill, for always getting me the coolest birthday gifts and gifts ever, man. I really appreciate it. This also says JMJ. That's the other foot right there. And it says Run DMC on the side. Really cool shit, man. Put this back in there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and I am wearing a Run DMC BPLA tank top, of course. I had to represent, and the agnostic front snapback, of course. So that's the deal with that. With a Mastodon King of Rock blend work. Stupid like a fox, it should. That should work. That'd be sick. Somebody, if you're a DJ, you need to make that happen, and make sure you send me a link to that, man. I might have to ask Stutters if he could do that for me too. He's a DJ, so let's see what happens. But okay, ladies and gentlemen. So now we are going to how many times you see Run DMC live? Once. Nonfiction show. That's it. Isn't that crazy? I only got to see them once. Crazy. That it's so bugged out when I think of that, because on the flip, I saw KRS-One live like a million times, and as you could see, my group, The Arsonists, we got to open up for him a couple of times, and so that's it's so strange how things like that happen. Maybe because when Run DMC came out, I was just a kid, so unless my father was taking me to go see them at some concert, there was no way I was gonna be able to go see them. So I was fortunate to be able especially that my homies in Nonfiction were opening up for them. So, you know, shout outs to Nonfiction. Wait, man. Shout outs to my brothers in Nonfiction. So, but I did get to see DMC quite a few times, because DMC, you know what's crazy? Before I go in the booth, I was talking to Stutters about this. DMC is out and about, like Flavor, you know, like you go on Instagram and Flavor Flav is everywhere. DMC is kind of like the same, like you see him in all different places and stuff. And I remember I went out to do the Source Awards with Crazy Legs, and DMC was there for that. And he was such a cool, that was the first time I met him, way before I did the voiceover stuff. And he was so cool back then, man. And as far as Run is more like unseen, like it's almost like he left planet Earth, and he's somebody that I would love to like have I got to have the conversation with DMC, and that was so eye-opening, and he has stories for days. He's an amazing human being. I would love to sit down with Run and pick his brain and just talk to him, you know what I mean? But who knows, man? I don't even know where he lives or anything. And Run had the craziest success too, because if you think about it, he had his own reality show, like his whole, just insane, man. Their careers have been insane, man. So shout out and flowers. And this episode is dedicated to Run DMC. Jam Master Jay, rest in peace for sure, man. Yeah, exactly, Gorilla. It's like everywhere. It's crazy, man. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. Bill Shapiro, excuse me. That's a crazy slip right there. Pardon me on that one. You're not Ben Shapiro. You're Bill Shapiro. Respect to you. Sorry about that. So yo, anyway, I'm gonna get in the booth right now, ladies and gentlemen. Stutters, I'm going to throw the mic, the light, the camera into the booth. And yes, you are right. See y'all there. Yes, yes, y'all, you don't stop. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have some fun in the booth today. Now, if you're watching this live, you're probably gonna be the only people to get to see this, because usually when these go up for replay, the music gets cut out, copyright shit. I can't explain it, but this is what it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. Thank you once again for tuning in to Live from the Lab with qunique. I will see you next week. Thank you guys for all the super stickers and super chats. Thank you for hanging out with me. Flowers, love, and respect to the great Run DMC and Jam Master Jay. Have a beautiful weekend. See you next Wednesday. Peace.